No word of a lie, I have been trying to record this video now for almost one whole week, and I have been super excited to do it because this is a bit of a unique situation. But every single day when I've gone to start recording this one, I ended up noticing that something different popped up, and clearly those took priority in terms of what needs to be uploaded first. Now, this is a rare situation. The update that will end up being the Roblox display names is something that I've not really seen a clear set of opinions on. Like, usually it's abundantly clear how people end up feeling about it. The entire community either absolutely loves something, which isn't something we get to see very often, but when it does happen, it's a pretty sight. Either that or the situation completely flips and everyone really cannot stand the update. Like, they fully hate every single thing about it. But with the display names, I have genuinely seen people who express their concerns for the update and the reasons why they don't like it, and then have gone on to list how much they like the update. Like, is it simply a contradiction that we should ignore, or is it something infrequent yet beautiful that we should admire? So it was around 1 month ago that we first got introduced to the idea that display names could very possibly get added to Roblox as an update sometime in the future, and I also made a video on that back then, which, as it turns out, is what led me to believe that people are already super interested and invested in what this update has to offer. We last left off with only 2 tweets of information from Bloxy News, something about adding @ below usernames on the in-game playlist, and then you may be able to change your display name above the @ to something of your choice, kind of like Twitter, and that is all we had to work with. Evidently, we ran on very limited information, but that makes a lot of sense considering it was a feature that had only just been found, and also they didn't even realize it was as big as it actually is. But don't you worry yourselves, because we have plenty to eat today. After just 4 more days, we received more information, a further 10 days, and we got even more, and finally we even got something at the beginning of November. So I think it's time that we stop wasting time. Kindly allow me to share these findings with you guys. Hello there, please make sure to leave a like on this video and you'll become my favourite person in the whole entire world. That is how it works. And of course, please make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already, because reaching 300,000 subscribers sounds kind of cool, I think. Update: after doing some more research, I can confirm that the screenshots below are real. However, this only seems to be out for a small percentage of users. As you can see, you will be able to change your display name in your settings. That all sounds wonderful, it sounds lovely, but here's the catch. Once a week, for free. I'm not entirely sure on why they are going to place a time limit on something like this, or why they specifically chose it to be 1 week instead of 1 day or 1 month. But hey, at least it's free. People would have shown absolutely no mercy if this had been a paid feature. It looks like the display name feature itself is going to live inside of your own settings, and in account information, it's going to be there as the very first thing you see upon opening my settings. And in fact, as you can see, display name actually sits above username. Attempting to change it seems to bring up a box that's similar to the change username box, except this one obviously says change display name, and then under the box it says important, your display name can only be changed once every 7 days. And I don't know if anyone noticed or not, but right there on the very end it says 10 out of 20, which very likely means that your display name can only contain 20 characters, and I'm pretty sure that's exactly the same as usernames. Update: I happened to get into a game with an admin that was using display names, and here is some information I gathered. I'm gonna need you to trust me on this one because this is where things get interesting. The display name can appear above a user's head, and take a look at the screenshot that goes with this because that literally looks like a username. There is absolutely nothing different about that versus another player's username sitting above their head, and that basically cements all the concerns into place that this was going to look like people can essentially change their usernames for free. Here is something really interesting. You cannot have emojis or special characters in the display name. I have no idea why they would specifically make sure to keep people from placing emojis into their display names. Like, I genuinely cannot think of a reason why they wouldn't allow that. I suppose I can understand special characters because that would make it far easier for people to be able to bypass the filter, but on Roblox I'm pretty sure that emojis have their own filter filter. Like, I've noticed with certain types of emojis, when you try to send them in the Roblox chat, they will just hashtag. So it's interesting that they would take away the possibilities of emojis being in your display name, because that's what could have made it seem less like a username and more like a display name, exactly what it's supposed to be. Update, here is some additional information about what display names can and cannot have. Oh, this should be fun. Strap yourselves in for this imminent bumpy ride. Must be between 3 and 20 characters long, can contain Unicode characters but not emojis, cannot contain spaces, hyphens, or anything like that. You see, I just don't understand why they are seemingly aiming to make display names appear less like display names and exactly identical to usernames. The only difference is they're allowing Unicode to be used in your display name, and correct me if I'm mistaken, but I believe Unicode is those little images that you can get in chat when you press and hold the Alt button and then type out the short number codes on your number pad on your keyboard. But you can also just copy and paste the symbols if you don't want to drag yourself through the effort of doing all of that. Also, in the user's API information, it lists 6 different things that could go wrong when changing your display name. Display name is too short, display name is too long, display name contains invalid characters, display name has been moderated, request must contain a birth date. So obviously it looks like if your username contains something that Roblox flags up as inappropriate, they won't just change it and have your display name be hashtags for the next 7 days, they will straight up let you know that it got moderated and you need to think of something else. But I just want to go back to the point of display names being free, because on my last video I had tons and tons of comments from people, all of them of the same nature, and this isn't something that had even crossed my mind because it doesn't personally bother me, but they kind of made a good point. People talking about this made me realize that the real kick in the teeth is that this is essentially being able to change your username for free and at least once a week. Now, if you have ever changed your username before, then you are gonna understand the pain of hearing that, because a username change on Roblox isn't exactly the cheapest thing out there. But if you've never changed your username before, then I would imagine you're gonna be over the moon. But here's where my own personal conflict begins, and this is exactly why I'm struggling to find a clear opinion on the display name update, because first of all, it didn't even cross my mind that people being able to basically change their usernames for free is like them taking a big poo on people who have spent thousands and thousands of Robux changing their usernames, which just shows how unbothered I personally am. But the same cannot be said for a lot of people out there. I can kind of see where they are coming from, and I will sympathize from spending 1000 Robux per username change to a feature that allows you to change the name you're displayed as once a week for a grand total of 0 Robux. That has got to be a massive pain. But those people who were mildly upset by all of this happening only seem to be a small portion. As for the large majority of people, they were absolutely loving the idea of this update, but also kind of disliking it at the same time. I said it last time, if my name was still Jason the Bad, then I would be a much less happier person on Roblox, and so I can also 100% understand why people who could never have a chance to change their usernames are now getting excited over the display names update. Whichever way this ends up going, and whether you love or hate this update, I'm more than sure that everyone will end up liking it anyway, because it's not like people that have changed their usernames before just aren't gonna get to use it. But anyway, guys, think of Roblox possibly adding a display name update sometime in the future and the strange requirements that come with it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.